A social worker who's at the center of many of the family's complaints. Her taped deposition was played in court as jurors heard from the plaintiff's attorney, and they heard him question her about why Beata Kowalski was accused of child abuse, which led to the state taking custody of Maya.
The medical doctors, not you, determined, hospital determined in the chart that she did have complex regional pain syndrome. That invalidated any allegation of Munchausen's by proxy, correct?
That was not a determination for me to make.
Well, you said that you'd read up on it, right?
On Munchausen, correct.
And you did recommend on multiple occasions that the child be kept in the hospital, did you not? I just read it to you.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And on multiple occasions, you made recommendations to keep the mother away from the child, did you not?
Yes.
And on multiple occasions, you made recommendations to limit the child's contact with certain family members, including the father, did you not?
Yes.
All of the things you were doing were based on a presumption that there was Munchausen's by proxy going on with this family, right?
Not my presumption. At that point, she had been sheltered, and I had to follow the shelter order, along with the visitation orders that were given by the court.
As one of the people who saw Maya the most in the hospital, tell this jury what you saw with your training in Munchausen by proxy that indicated that this family was abusing Maya.
So what I can say is that the medical team reported to me that the parent...
No, I'm not asking what people reported to you. I'm asking what you saw with your own two eyes. Mark 1 eyeballs. What did you see that would support that?
I heard and saw the mother on...
You heard what?
I heard and saw on numerous occasions the mother demanding from the doctors that the child be given amounts of ketamine. And I heard discussions from the doctors saying that that was too dangerous.
Did you know at any of those times that there were multiple expert doctors who had actually prescribed that amount of ketamine?
I didn't know that.
No one ever told you that Dr. Kirkpatrick, she was under his care and he was prescribing that? Did you know that or did you not know that?
Early on, probably not.
Did you know Dr. Hanna was prescribing that?
Early on, probably not.
Okay, well, if it wasn't JHACH doctors, how would you know what is an appropriate amount of ketamine for a complex regional pain syndrome 9-year-old during flare-up periods? How do you personally know that?
Well, personally, I don't know that.
Would it be safe to say then that your basis with your own eyes and ears, which was the question, for why Maya should be taken away from her family was this request for an amount of ketamine that was in excess of what you heard was appropriate? Is that right?
Correct.
You're talking about taking a little girl away from her parents. Are you telling me that, to the best of your knowledge, Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital took this little girl away for over 3 months because of a dispute over dosage?
First of all, Johns Hopkins didn't take this child away from her parents.
We'll get down with that later.
Okay. So that was a court decided that through DCF.
I understand that somebody called DCF and complained that this was child abuse and that this child should be taken away from her mother, and that the people that said that were all Children's Hospital doctors, social workers, and nurses. You understand that, right?
Under the Florida statute, we have the responsibility to report all suspected child abuse.
There it is. All right, still with me, Deputy Chief Investigator for Gwinnett County, Georgia DA's office, Curtis Clemens. And Curtis, again, we keep hearing the same thing. It's obvious. This was drilled into her by her attorneys or the attorneys of the hospital. This is where we are. This is our stance. They asked her a question. You know, what did you see?
Right.
And I wrote down relevant and I put a question mark because, quite frankly, no matter what she saw, she had orders that she had to follow. So if the mother seemed perfectly fine, she may want to turn around and report that to someone and say, hey, are you guys sure about this? But that really is not her position. She had her orders she had to follow.
Well, this is a complicated case in the fact that at some point she became aware from Dr. Hannah that this is the prescribed treatment. And even DPS said, you know what, this is the doctor's prescribed treatment. You need to let this child be released to the family so that she can seek treatment for Maya. And they still kept her. You know, I think the problem is going to be, again, we go back to, was this personal, you know, for Bedy, or was she really trying to help the child? Because I don't know if you remember, early on there was some testimony about her saying that she told Maya she wished she could adopt her. You know, and I know as an investigator for many years with child crimes, you get very close to your victims. And I know many times I wanted to, you know, adopt the kids if I could. But I knew I had to have that level, that line of professionalism. And it's a possibility that she may have crossed that.
Yeah, and there are a couple of claims. She's facing claims. She was a part of this initially. They got rid of her, and they'll be doubly dealt with separately. But some of her actions are included in the claims in this case, and one of them being a battery. So that once she got the diagnosis and she knew she had this problem, they were still trying to disprove it by touching her in here, and they're calling that a battery. Also, because her actions, she was an agent of the hospital. The hospital's responsible. There's a negligent supervision and retention issue here, a claim in this lawsuit. So when we talk about these types of things, that's what they're seeking to recover on.
Right. And that's going to be, again, this is a very complicated case, and that's going to be a difficult issue, I think, for a judge or jury to decide how we want to side for this family that's going to be fair. There are some issues, both with the hospital that I can see, and it is supposed to be their job to take care of the child in what they believe is the best interest of the child. But at the same time, when do you relinquish the child back to the parents so that they can seek effective treatment, especially after she had been definitively diagnosed with CPRS.
And what complicates things even more, Curtis, is that even though they were told that there was CPRS by a doctor who had treated her and said that these ketamine treatments were appropriate, this is what he had done before and they had some success, those treatments were not FDA approved here in the States. So that to me complicates it even more, because what obligation does the hospital have to go along with a diagnosis and a treatment from a doctor who doesn't work at the hospital, works with the family, and yet it's a diagnosis and treatment that they might not be as familiar with as they maybe should be, but also the treatment they just can't condone.
Right. You know what? That is a problem, but you know what hospitals and organizations and businesses also have? They have waivers. You know, have the family sign a waiver before you release this child that, you know, if you take her away, you know, you're not going to hold us responsible for anything that happens because we tried to take care of her, but now she has a full diagnosis. We're going to release Maya back to you, let you go seek treatment. If something happens, Johns Hopkins Hospital is not responsible.
Curtis, they gave her a waiver. At least this is allegations made by Maya's family. The waiver, though, the one they wanted them to sign to take the baby, she would have had to have admitted that she had Munchausen's by proxy. So they said that's all part of the bad faith here. So, and you know, if that's true, I mean, these things are where you get bad faith. All right, stand by. I do have to take a break. When we come back, more from the Take Care of Maya civil trial. This time, the jury hears from a counselor who describes the relationship between Maya and her mother. That's next, here on Court TV.
I'm Julia Janae in West Palm Beach, Florida for the Boy in a Box trial. And this is Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Turning back now to the Take Care of Maya civil trial going on in Florida. Jurors got a chance to hear another taped deposition from Maya's counselor, Rebecca Johnson. Now, Johnson is questioned by defense attorney David Hughes about Maya's condition and her trip to Mexico for those ketamine treatments.
What is the presenting problem listed here for Maya Kowalski on 11/9/15?
What she initially came in with, those presenting issues were depression, anxiety. She had trouble sleeping. All of these things were reported to be related to her pain. She had difficulty concentrating. She was angry, and she felt hopeless.
What do you recall about either Maya or her mother explaining the treatment in Mexico?
I recall them, Maya specifically, being hopeful that this would bring some relief for her.
Did they discuss what type of therapy was going on in Mexico?
They may have mentioned it was the ketamine therapy at that point. I'm not sure.
Did you inquire about how Maya felt about that upcoming trip to Mexico?
Yes, I did. That's why I remember her saying hopeful about that treatment.
Now I'd like to flash forward to EW13, which is an October 21, 2016 letter, Eagles Wings Counseling Center letterhead, addressed to whom it may concern. It's signed by both yourself, Rebecca Johnson, MS, registered mental health counselor intern, and Lauren Mock, MALMFTQS at Eagles Wings Counseling Center. Do you have that record in front of you?
Yes.
Why did you draft this letter?
From what I recall, this letter was drafted during a time that Maya was at All Children's Hospital, and her parents asked me to give a summary type of letter for her care.
Do you have a specific recollection of being asked to prepare this letter?
I have a recollection of it's either Beata or Jack calling me about this, asking me to do this.
What do you recall about that conversation?
That she was in the hospital, that things were not happening, that she was not being permitted to leave the hospital, and they were wanting some sort of information about our treatment plan, our treatment sessions.
And what did Jack tell you?
Jack told me that there were some abuse allegations and that there were investigations happening.
And do you know who was doing the investigating?
DCF.
Did Mr. Kowalski, when discussing this letter with you, give you any details about the allegations of abuse?
Yes, he told me what was happening as far as what they were accusing Beata of and what Maya was experiencing at the time. And I was happy to offer what we had been working on and what my care had been for her.
And it looks like here in the record, it says, quote, or in this letter from October 21, 2016, quote, most recently I have been treating Maya for depression as a result of her physical limitations of RSD, as well as the distress she feels because of her current circumstances, which include school and social settings, end quote. Do you see that? Is that a fair and accurate description of what you had recently been working with Maya Kowalski on?
Yes.
Going back to this Mexico trip, what do you recall, separate and apart of the charting today, that Beata communicated to you about the trip to Mexico?
I don't recall anything sharing about this.
Do you recall Mom mentioning that the child was intubated and given enough ketamine to put her into what's known as a ketamine coma?
She did mention that, yes.
Okay, what do you recall about the ketamine coma?
That is all I knew about the ketamine coma.
Did Ms. Kowalski express any concerns or anxieties about the ketamine coma experience?
I'm guessing as a mother, well, I'm not guessing, I'm sorry. I don't recall her saying anything specific about that.
Do you recall Mrs. Kowalski or anyone saying anything about returning to Mexico for additional ketamine treatments in December of 2015?
I don't recall.
Okay. And I think you referenced this earlier, but it says marriage is suffering here. Do you recall any discussion with Beata Kowalski about the nature of her marriage?
She did mention that the stress of Maya's illness was impacting their marriage.
How was it impacting the marriage?
Well, I've written here, there's a lack of communication. They're feeling on edge. They're feeling disconnected.
Do you know one way or the other whether Beata had underlying mental health issues prior to presenting to you?
I do not.
Now, the plaintiff's attorney also questioned Johnson about Maya and her mother's relationship and what the hospital knew about the kind of therapy Johnson was providing for Maya.
Did you have an opportunity to observe the interaction between Maya and her mother, Beata, on multiple occasions?
Them on those family sessions notated in the appointment record.
How would you describe the relationship between Beata and Maya from what you observed?
Seemed healthy. It seemed good.
Did you ever find in any of the time that you observed the Kowalski family together or apart any indications whatsoever that Beata Kowalski was engaging in or was capable of engaging in abuse of her daughter?
My answer is no.
When Maya becomes victim again to the pain and discomfort and problems, physiological problems that arise from a relapse of the CRPS, will she, into your opinion, and to a reasonable psychological probability, require increased psychological and care and therapy to deal with the issues, sequelae that arise from it?
Yes. Yes.
Did you ever have anyone from Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital call you or email you or otherwise seek to speak with you about your care and treatment of Maya Kowalski?
My only interaction was with the social worker. I believe she was affiliated with the hospital.
So did you have the opportunity to express your treatment to them or not?
Yes.
You did? Okay, so they were aware that you were conducting behavioral cognitive therapy on Maya?
They requested my notes.
But you told them that you were performing behavioral cognitive therapy to assist Maya?
I do not recall if I said CBT specifically, but again, it's included in the notes that they had received.
Of course, the more they can show that the hospital knew, it's better for the plaintiffs.